Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Creative Expressions, and today I'm launching my brand new collection. It's the 17th of October 2023, and from right now this collection is now available at all of your favourite Creative Expressions stockists worldwide. And if it hasn't arrived yet, either give the stockist a prod and find out when they're coming in, or just keep an eye because I'm sure they'll be announcing them arriving in the next few days. Now today sees the launch of the Fairy Village collection. Now I know lots and lots of you went out and bought last month's collection, which was of course the large fairies. Good news is today's Fairy Village collection and that collection work brilliantly in conjunction with each other. They really do coordinate across the board. There are so many elements in this brand new collection which truly do fit with the large fairies but can be used with the new smaller fairies you're going to find in the Fairy Village collection. Now I've got new stencils, I've got new dies, and of course all of this will work with the stencils, dies and sparkle glaze that come out last month. So I thought what we would do to begin with is take you for a little run through what came out last month so you can see that, and then I'll show you the brand new collection that's just launched so you can see which bits you want to add to your stash. Now, as I mentioned, it is the 17th of October 2023, and these are now available at all of your favourite Creative Expressions stockists. So with no further ado, let's dive in and have a little look through the last collection and of course our brand new one. So just in case you can't remember where the fairy collection started, I wanted to remind you of the very first one I bought out earlier in the year. This is our Fairy Wishes die set. That's its official name, but I have since nicknamed our character as Rose. And that comes quite important because all of my fairies have little names, and we'll come to more of those in a second. But the Fairy Wishes die set was our first sample to see how you got on with the fairies. And the good news is you loved them and they flew off the shelves, and we knew from that moment on, as soon as we could, I needed to bring in more fairies to build up bigger scenes. So in September, we brought out our set of 3 trio fairies to coordinate the Fairy Wishes. So our first one here is our Fluttering Ivy, sat down, ready to sort of build your scene. And as you can see, she's our only fairy that faces left into the picture, which is great because it means that we can move in with the Fairy Wishes. We can use our Moonlight Phoebe and we can build up scenes with them looking at each other. Moonlight Phoebe is great because she's got this lovely crescent moon she can sit on. She's also got this toadstool as well that she can sit on. We then have Starry and So our Fairy Wishes collections started off with this first die set. This is actually called Fairy Wishes and it came out as part of my Pierce collection earlier in 2023. And when we see just how popular Fairy Wishes was, we knew we'd got to add more to the collections. And that's why in September we brought out new additions. Now, Fairy Wishes is actually the name of this die set, but I have nicknamed my lovely fairy in this one since then as Rose, and all of the fairies have little names and it helps build up the stories. So we've got Rose, Fairy Wishes, the official one. Then in September we brought out Moonlit Phoebe. Now Moonlit Phoebe has her moon to sit on, she also has her little toadstool to sit on, so she can really help build up the scene by being in the sky or down lower on the set. We then have Starry Angela. So Angela's great because she can be walking, she can be flying, she's got her wand there. You can interchange with the watering can and the flowers from Fairy Wishes. She could be posting a little letter, we'll come to that shortly. And then we've got stars and sentiments to go with her. Then our last one is Fluttering Ivy. Now Ivy is sat down and it's quite nice with Ivy because she's actually facing a different direction to all of the other fairies. So you can build up quite a nice scene. So again, we've got sort of the bottom left facing fairy, we've got the right facing fairies, and then we've got the one here that can go up in the air or lower down depending on what you'd like to sit her on. So we've really got a good little set here going on. But in our new collection we're going to be looking at shortly, you will see all of these in miniature. They're so cute. I can't wait to get to those. But this gives you an idea of what they actually look like. Now, in the same set that come out in September, we had the entwined rose border, which is a perfect decoration to make up corners and frames and different pieces. We also have the decor edge blossom. Now, I know this is already sold out and a few of these are, so do, you know, when we're looking at these collections, when we're looking at these products, don't expect them to be lingering. They will fly, literally, no pun intended. So don't hold off, get your orders in quickly if you'd like them. Go to your favourite stockists, track them down. So with this one, you can see we've got this lovely decal edge around the edge there. We've got these score lines in here as well. So we can shape it, we can colour it. We've got the big leaves as well to go with them, so we can really build up some great displays. You will see that used quite a lot in the samples for the brand new October release. We then had a really good generalised border. This is the Enchanted Lattice, and we can use this in any direction, and it's got the front panel and the back panel, and there's so many ways you can use that, but it's a great scene builder. Included in the September release, just so you see where all of this is coming from, we also have our sentiments, and again you're going to see a lot of these used in the October release. So we've got with love, happy birthday, best wishes, thinking of you, just for you, and get well soon, all with interchangeable bars. They come as sets as you see them, so you're going to get one word, one panel in each set, but of course I wanted them on one board so you could see how easy it would be to actually interchange the words and the banners to give you more freedom. We then also have in this release our Sparkle Glaze, and I've done a little sample here showing you how you can blend your colours, but there are actually 6 different shades of these, and again a lot of these are now sold out, but they are going to work perfectly with the brand new stencils that we've just released, and of course they're going to work with the new Fairy Village collection as well. So let's have a little look through that one. That gives you the overview of what come out in September. Let's tease you now with what come out in October, what's coming out today. There was also some stencils in the September collection, so again, do have a little look for those too. So without further ado, let's move on and show you what we've got for you today, shall we? I'm so excited about bringing these to you. Honestly, I can't believe this. I've been sleepless nights. I've really been looking forward to this. I think you're going to love them. I hope you love them. You're going to have to let me know what you think of them. Please put in the comments your thoughts, because I hope you're in love with these as much as I am. So this is our Woodland Dwellings. How adorably cute are these little houses? Then on top of that, we have our fairies. So you can see here, we have got Moonlit Phoebe, we have got Starry Angela, we have got Fluttering Ivy, but they're Diddy. Look how cute these are. And they're perfect for building up your scenes. You've got this lovely tree to put in here as well. You've got grass, and the grass can be cut in both ways. So the line is similar on both sides as such. That means that you can layer your grass without it getting too repetitive. So if you wanted to lay this one on top of that one, the blades of grass are going to be in different places, all just by the direction you use the actual line of the die. You've got clouds, you've got little plant pots, you've got mushrooms, you've got the moon. We need the moon, obviously, for Moonlit Phoebe to sit on. That hasn't gone anywhere. We've got that. We've got the little mushroom toadstool for her to sit on. And we've now introduced a plant pot for her as well. You've got little flowers that are singles that you can build up in the plant pot if you would like to. You can plant them in the grass. You can play with these as you wish. Now, I'm going to bring these up for you so you can see them. Just look at the embossed or debossed detailing on the fairies, on the houses, on the little mushrooms and toadstools, on the flowers, on the plant pot. It's all there. Everything in that one set is ready for you to just go to town and get building them sets. So when we look at some cards just created with this set, and again, so many times we're being told that people are doing smaller cards for postage costs, not only in the UK, but all around the world. These are the perfect dies for you. They're delicate, they're intricate, but they're small. And you can choose how many you want to put on a project. If you wanted to turn that into a scrapbook border, you could certainly put in more trees, more grass, more houses. This could be a 12-inch border, or like this little C6 card, it can be small and dinky. And it could, of course, be a lot smaller than that if you wanted it to be. So maybe gift tags, maybe insert decorations, maybe home decor. It's endless. It's up to you. You can, of course, bring these in and use them with my previous dies as well. So this is actually one of the backgrounds that come out with the Pierce collection a little while ago. The fairy will, of course, fit underneath the tree. So maybe you want to build up a just for you or a thinking of you and bring in one of the little fairies. This, of course, is Fluttering Ivy, but she fits perfectly under the tree. Or, of course, you can build up a scene with the houses, the trees, the clouds. You can bring it all together. And this is a dinky little card. I think this is about 4 inches by memory by 4 inches. So it really does show you how delicate and small you can go if you wish to. So easy to colour. I've just used alcohol markers for pretty much all of the ones you're seeing here that have been coloured, but it's down to you how you want to build them up. Now, there's a lot more samples I want to share with you and a lot more dies too. So let's speed on to the next one. Now, I couldn't just fit everything I wanted in one set, so I had to bring you another set. So, and you're also going to notice that our Fairy Wishes, which has now been named as Rose, was missing from the first set of our fairies. There was only the September fairy shrunk down in this one, which was the Woodland Dwellings. But in the Floral Dwellings, we have got Fairy Wishes brought to life in this one. We also have 2 brand new designs as well. So I've got these named in my mind as Bella, the ballerina, and Trixie, our little flying fairy up here. So we've got Trixie and Bella in my mind. In this set, 19 dies. Worth mentioning actually, 13 in the previous set to give you an idea, 19 in this one. This time we've got little fence panels for you to put around the houses. We've got the houses, we've got the moon, we've got a sort of crescent moon, we've got different clouds, we've got this brilliant branch that you can build up on top of, we've got flowers, we've got a little lamppost, and we've got a lovely flower border. Now the border is a bit like the grass, there is no cut line beyond it or below it, so when that cuts in it will stay on your card, and that means that you can multi-cut that if you would like to, or you could form it to make little shadow boxes and have them flowers standing proud. It just gives you a lot more options than if I include a line that cuts it away. It means you can do more with this, but if you would like to cut it off, you can do. I will also point out that these flowers can be cut and used individually. Just by snipping across the bottoms of the stems, you can take virtually all of these off and use them as separate flowers. So many ways you're going to be using these. So many ways you can build up your scenes. Maybe you want to stand in here Rose, so you're just going to trim away that flower and stand her in the opening. It just gives you that option to remove pieces and put in houses, put in the fairies, build up your scenes as you want to. So with our set, as I mentioned, 19 dies. Bringing this in and sharing with you just a couple of samples. Now, hopefully you can see along here the deboss work that is actually on these flowers. They're so easy to colour because of this, and they look stunning even just done in white. You're going to notice our Fairy Wishes die, our nicknamed Rose die above this one. And again, it's showing you how the collections work together. Little and large will work brilliantly together. Happy birthday brought in on this one too. Then when we move on, you're going to see the love wording coming out of one of the fairy sets. You've got the backing panel again from September. We've got the entwined rose border from September. But we've brought in Rose, our little Fairy Wishes die in miniature, and popped her on the side. So a real simple, easy, elegant card to make that you could batch make. You could make in so many different formats. This could be for so many different occasions, but ever so simple to do. Just some colouring with some metallic markers, and we have got that card created. Now, as I mentioned, we have, of course, got our two different sets. We've got woodland dwellings and we've got floral dwellings. And if you do get both of them, obviously, you're going to have a lot more options in what you can be creating with them. So let's bring in this one for a start off. This one is one of my little pillar cards. And I say little pillar cards. Normally when I do my pillar cards, they're huge. They're 8x8 cards. But sticking with the smaller theme, I've gone for this little dinky card. It can be collapsed down so you can post it. I've used the grass from the first set that we shared with you, which was the dwellings. Woodland dwelling set. You can see the houses, you can see the little fences, you can see the flowers coming in. We've got ivy sat up here on the top there as well. We've got clouds. It's all going together, and this is what I wanted. I wanted sets you could build in and build up bigger pictures if you want to, but actually strip it back and use them as just small, simple elements if you prefer. Again, when we bring these in, we've got the sentiment from the September release here, but we've got the flowers, we've got the houses, we've got our little Angela flying through the air above the little scene here. And again, dinky card, small card, and that is something we've been asked for so many times. Of course, if you want to use these on bigger cards, you can do. And this is one of the sets, or actually two of the sets that we brought out back earlier in the year, and it's our butterfly frame, and it's actually inside the decal edge, which comes with the love heart frame, the oval love heart frame I think it's called, but it's more showing you how you can use those style of frames to ground these pieces and put them inside there. So again, we've got our Moonlit Phoebe in miniature sat here on the actual opening of the oval. We have got Rose, or Fairy Wishes, flying off into the scene. We've got our houses, we've got our trees, and we've got our clouds. It all comes together. Again, smaller little card for you, bringing them sets together using bits from both of them. Maybe you'd prefer to sync them into lovely Sue Wilson slimline dies. This is something I really like doing because it gives each one of them a little picture. So we've got Bella the ballerina, and again we've got Rose sort of in this one with the tree in the middle. You could of course use the same idea and bring in the houses and put those into each scene instead if you would prefer, and build them up. The tree has just been used in the top of there and coloured in Valcar markers, and a few details put in with a white gel pen. So hopefully you're seeing how you're going to be able to bring them two sets together to make some incredible displays So of course that was woodland dwellings and floral dwellings. And between them, if you do get both of them, you're going to have over 30 dies to play with to create them scenes. And as you can see, there's so many bits in there. I think actually looking at the metal, you get to see just how many bits you're getting for your pennies and how many scenes you're going to be able to create, how many ways you're going to be able to play with these and build them up. But there's more than this. It's not just these two. I mentioned that we'd have new scene bits and pieces that we can build with the large fairies and the small fairies. So let's show you our first one. This is our floral branch. Now in this die, we have got 5 different dies. And that means that we have our branch, we have our flowers, we have our leaves. So we can build this branch up into whatever style we want it to be. So it could be a spooky Halloween branch. It could be a blossoming branch ready for the spring. You know, it could be an autumnal branch if you're into sort of fall creations. You know, it could be whatever you want it to be. You can build it up or you can just stick to one line. The idea here is, again, a bit like the flower border. If you want to snip off bits and you want to place a house on there, or maybe you want to hang a house from it, or you'd like to set the fairies walking along it, sitting on there, the choice is yours. It's up to you. There's deboss work actually into it as well. So you've got quite a bit there. You could ink and highlight if you wish to, and then you've got the flowers to go on there, or the leaves if you would prefer. When we talk about actually bringing this in and using it with our fairies. Now, I haven't introduced you yet to the swing. The swing is coming up in the next set we'll be looking at, but it shows with you here how we can form that branch. We can put our flowers, we can put our leaves on there. We can bring in the flowers and the grasses from the dwelling sets, and we can really build up a nice, simple, elegant card. This again, of course, is using our mini Moonlit Phoebe this time. Now, on to the next one, and I haven't shared with you yet the door either. The door is coming, do not fear. This isn't something I've snuck in from somewhere else. The door is new, the post box is new, we'll get to that in a moment, but we're back looking at the branch here. Ivy is also coming up with the door set, so you can add that to the branch if you'd like to. And of course, this time we've got fluttering ivy just sat there on the branch to give you an idea of how we could use that. There's quite a lot of texture on the door as well, so if you wanted to highlight that, you can do as well. So onto our swing. Now you see the swing being used in those cards, but the swing actually comes with this beautiful corner. And it's always important to me to give you corner dies, because I feel when we're building scenes, when we're building up panels in the middle of our card, the one thing we need is corners, especially when we're working with circles. And that will come important in a minute when I get onto one of the other dies. But if you're working with a circle, there's nothing worse than having this big area in the corners with nothing in them. This is where these sort of dies come in. So we've got your corner, we've got the swing. Swing can be used on the corner to hang from it, or it can be used on the branch, or it can be used on the flowers that are coming up, or of course it can all work together, or you can just leave the swing out of it and just stick to the corners. You then have flowers, and these are cool little flowers. It's a lovely little set on its own, but the flowers can of course go on top of the corner if you want to, or you can use them separate. We've then got little stars for you to build up as well. So maybe you want to make a little night scene and you want to put Phoebe on the swing. Perfect to do that as well. So 7 different dies actually in that set. When we look at them as their components, you can see that you're getting quite a few bits in there that you can build up. Another little one here showing you how I've taken the swing and hung it down from the branch and put Moonlit Phoebe on this side and Fluttering Ivy on that side, and then some flowers brought in here from the Deco Blossoms. So it all works, everything will coordinate, everything will come together for you, and it's just a really cool set, especially between the September release of the larger fairies, the Fairy Wishes collection, and of course this collection, which is of course the Fairy Village. So we see the door. This is the door die. This is the magical door. 9 dies in the magical door die set. And in this one, you can see that we've got the door, which is going to deboss for you. You've got the bricks going around the sides. You've got the wood grain on the door. You've got the little window. You've even got the place for the handle. I left the door closed because I didn't want that to have to be something you decorate. But if you want to trim around it quite easily with a craft knife and make that door open, you absolutely can do. But I wanted that to be an option for you, not a given. You then have the post box. You've got the little wood stump just to actually hold up the post box. And I've seen this in the design team samples. I'm not sharing with you today. I'm holding back with them. I want them to have all the glory and sharing with you the most amazing cards they've made. But I have seen this used in quite a few different ways, including making little steppers in the grass leading up to the door, which I thought was a really cool idea. You've then got another little mushroom or toadstool. You've got smaller ones. You've got a little letter to go in the post box. You've got that ivy branch. Now, don't forget, I love ivy. My nan was called Ivy, and that's why Fluttering Ivy, the fairy, was actually called Ivy. And I love the ivy flower or the ivy leaves. So I really wanted to bring that in and have that so you could drape that around the door and build up your scenes with that, or use it on the branch as well. So this little ivy trail can be, again, built into corners, built into borders, decorated in so many ways. It's quite a nice size die and quite easy to snip down if you'd like to make it smaller. So you've got that one in there as well. Lots of deboss work on the ivy, on the door, on the post box, as you can see. So again, great for colouring in and highlighting. The door, as I mentioned, if you do wish to snip it, you can cut it open, and then you can put your fairies going in or out of the door. The ivy is on the top here. We've got our little signs in the background. We've got a little post box with his letter in there. And then onto this one, showing you that lovely corner. And this again was what I was on about with the corners. When we're doing smaller panels, but we want them to be bigger cards, this corner is a great way to extend that design out. So we've got the door actually put onto sort of a tree that I've stamped with one of our Creative Expressions rubber stamps that's got a tree bark. I've just cut up the side of it, added on some ivy, and then again put the fairy wishes fairy flying through the air, bringing in her letter, or going to post it, whichever way round, or bringing it into the house. The choice is yours, but it's a nice way to build up a scene and tell a story. On to our last die in this collection, and I've saved the biggest till last. This one is a big die, and I do like the idea of giving you larger dies that you can use in many ways, and this is one of those. This is the Butterfly Bouquet die set, and in here we have got 5 dies. Now, I have a feeling that this one is going to be very, very, very popular indeed, and I think it's all about the flowers. These flowers are incredible, if I do say so myself. They're incredibly delicate. They're debossed on each of them, so they're easy to colour, and the actual crest here that I've designed quite easily. There's so many bits I can tell you about this. We can snip into it, so we can cut it smaller if we want to. We can actually take it and pretty much, and you know, this is down to a bit of poetic license here, but you can pretty much force it into a corner or actually a complete line. So when we're looking at this in this shape, don't just feel it's got to be in sort of that crescent style. Think about it being a border, think about it being a corner, think about cutting it and using just different pieces of it. Just using the floral sprigs, just using that big flower part in the middle here. You know, it's such a snippable and easy to work with design. And then with that, I wanted to bring in, and you know I like to do this, I like to hint back to previous collections and show you how that's all going to work together. You're going to remember, I'm sure, that my Moroccan collection had scalloped edges to it, and we had decal edges to it, and then them shapes also come forward to the pierced collection. Well, they're now appearing again within our Fairy Village set, and this is always quite important to me because it means that if you've got those dies and you want to build up panels and you want to tell a story for your album or for your cards or for your home decor, you've got them matching edges, and it saves you going out and buying sets of them. They're included with the sets you're looking at. You've also got a flat edge circle in this one as well. So if you want to cut those out and make them as frames and build your scenes in here or in this one, you can do, or you can build them together. The choice really is up to you. This one, of course, could then be nested into that one and give you like a decal edge around the flat one, or you could put it into this one and have a decal edge on one side and a scalloped on the other. It's really down to how you want to play. But your largest is the scalloped, your middle one is the flat line, and the smallest one is the decal. You've then got that big floral display, and you've got the butterfly. Now, the butterfly design is quite important. You're going to see that coming up in the stencils that we're going to be looking at in just a moment, and that is going to coordinate perfectly. And I think this is quite a nice way to design products, is when you can see everything coordinates together, and you'll certainly see that shortly. Talking of coordinating together, here again, we've got the decal edges coming in from the ovals, the pierced oval from previous collections, but we've actually snipped this big crescent and turned it into 2 pieces, even larger than it started off. And this is one of my favourite cards I've actually created with this collection. And again, bringing in our little moonlit Phoebe and sitting her on top of her toadstool. Now, talking of previous collections, this is one of the corners I bought out earlier in the year. That's going to work perfectly with this one. Again, stripping it back to just our dark denim cardstock and white cardstock, building up that scene, giving the opening in the middle here to our moonlit Phoebe, flowers around the sides, and then layering between the different frames that come in with that set. Now don't forget, you don't have to stick to using these with a circle if you don't want to. They could of course, as I said, be stretched out or cut down or changed around. Now again, when we're talking about the September collection and bringing that into the new October release, you can see here that we've got the September Moonlit Phoebe, the larger one, with her little toadstool, with this brand new die set, but actually using that lattice edge and the sentiment and the panel from the previous releases. So it all just goes together. Maybe you'd prefer something quite monochrome, maybe you'd prefer to use the opening in the centre for one of the larger fairies. The choice really is yours, but I think this is an essential die, not only for fairies, but for everything really, and I think you're going to love using that and come up with many, many ways to do so. Then I mentioned stencils, didn't I? So let's show you the first stencil. This is Butterfly Ray. So this is a slimline stencil and it gives you two different components. You can use them together or you can mask one off or the other and use just these pieces. But you will notice that the butterfly is the same shape and style and design as the die. So if you do want to coordinate together, brilliant to do so. When we're talking about that sparkle glaze that we brought out last month in September, I said that that will work perfectly. This time I've put my stencil down, I've blended through with some inks, and then I've put the sparkle glaze over the top to get these more intense shades shining through. Very similar on this one here, actually done some stamping in the background, used both parts of the stencil, and as you can see, flipped the stencil because we can use it in both directions so that one crescent comes up and one sort of goes the other way. Another little card here just with some inking, and I've added on some details, hopefully you can see these, with a white gel pen onto each of the butterflies, just to give even more sort of elegance. But again, great way to use that one. So that's one of the stencils. There's 4 of these to go through. We then have our Bountiful Bouquet. Now this is a really cool one because again, it's got this aperture here for you to put in your design, your focal point, maybe your fairies or just about anything. Again, it doesn't have to be for fairies, but it gives you that landing area to put them in. It also means that we can twist that. So maybe you want to do 2 panels on a card and you want the opening to be here down on the left hand side, but for the next card you want it to be up there on the right hand side, so it's not too repetitive and gives you landing points in different places for each of your sort of scenes to be built up upon. Of course, we can also flip the stencil, and never forget with stencils, we can also emboss with these in our machines if we use our rubber mats, and I always think that's a really good value way to use a stencil because we're sort of turning it into an embossing folder without having to pay an embossing folder price point, and we've still got the ability to stencil through it. Now, one of my favourite techniques is using them with glitters, and that's what I've done here and built up my little scene on that little landing area, adding on my sentiment down here as well. This time I've actually cut it out with a die, so I've just used a plain circular die, and I've brought in Bella, the ballerina, and popped her in the middle there, and I've inked over the stencil around the sides, continued the inking through the different layers. Talking of embossing, I don't know how well you're going to see on the screen, but this one has been embossed using a rubber mat in my machine. So there's lots of texture here, and then I've put the stencil, or left the stencil in place and inked over the top of it. So we've got this inked, embossed feeling, and then built up my little scene, added on my sentiment, just bringing all of them components together. This one again is one of embossed. I've added on some of our gilded touch in the enchanted gold. I've then coloured it with an ink pad. I've added in white gel pen marks to the flowers to bring in more detail. I've built up the little scene and I've added the corners on that one as well. So again, so much we can do with these, so many ways we can play with them. We then have for you a frame. Now this is the entwined floral frame. And again, great placement for you to use on your inserts to put your sentiments in there, or again on the outside of your card to build up your scenes. It really is up to you how you work with this one, but it's just a really fun one. This was actually a bit of a mistake, and I'm not going to linger too long in case it makes your eyes go a bit funny, because it does me. But I inked first of all in blue, if I remember right, and as I went to pick the stencil up, I moved it and smudged it. So I put the stencil back on and did it in green, and it gives that sort of optical illusion look, and I really liked it. So I shared that one with you just in case that's something you like the look of. This one again I've inked through, and then I've put the sparkle glaze over the top, so we've got a more intense shade of blue and built up in that one. And then this one, of course, inking again with some Simon Hurley inks through round the stencil, and then bringing in the original moon from the original Moonlit Phoebe, and then bringing in Bella the ballerina from the dwelling sets to put on the actual moon instead. So again, even when we're looking at the different sizes and the different proportions, don't be afraid to take the sort of original September dies, the bigger formats, and then start bringing in the components from the smaller ones and placing them together, because this of course is Moonlit Phoebe in the original one, and then the floral dwellings for our Bella to go on the moon. So it will really work together even when we're looking at it in them formats. Then on to our last stencil, and the last new product for October from me. This is our star flower borders. So you're going to recognise this style from the die. And I always think it's really lovely to have that sort of die style and stencil, and then to give you more as well. So you might want to build up more pieces. So we've got that border strip, we've got a smaller border strip. So if you want to make frames around your cards, you can do. And they don't, of course, have to be square. This one, of course, is an octagon, and that works quite nicely by just putting it on the edges or bringing in the actual pieces, putting them onto a rectangle. You can see with this one, I've actually built up my butterflies on here from the butterfly bouquet set. And then you've got the flowers from the deckled edge blossoms, and we've got the sentiments too. So it all works together. And hopefully you can see how much fun you're going to be having with this collection. Another thing I wanted to share with you is, again, when we're talking about using them together, and we're looking at September's Fairy Wishes collection with October's Fairy Village collection, is how well it will work together. So this card all sort of stands out. It's got a little bit battered over time, but it stands out and it gives you all of the different pieces brought together. So we've got our lovely floral borders, we've got our little toadstools, we've got 3 of our fairies on here, we've got our sentiments, and we've got our flowers put in the top there. So again, the more of these collections you've got, the more ways you're going to be able to bring them together, the more incredible creations you're going to be able to make. This is another card that I've done, actually bringing in Moonlit Phoebe and sitting her behind this lovely crescent. And then the corner die that we looked at, I've actually snipped that down because that's quite easy to do as well. So if you don't want it as a big format corner, you can absolutely snip it down. Now, I hope that's given you just a few ideas of what you could be creating with the brand new release for October. And I hope you've fallen in love with it as much as I have. I've enjoyed designing it, I've loved creating with it, and now the most exciting part of all comes along, when it means that you get to share with me what you're going to create with it. So if you do purchase some of these bits, please make sure to tag me, share with me, pop them on the comments on my posts on Facebook. Tell me what you're thinking of the collection in the comments to the video, or whether that's on YouTube or Facebook. But do let me know what you're thinking. Share with me the bits you love. And then once you've got hold of it, please do share with me creations you've made. And keep an eye out for lots more inspiration coming on my YouTube channel, and of course on the Jamie Rodgers Facebook page, as I share with you more cards, more albums, more videos, and bringing these collections together to really inspire you. Thanks for watching today. Don't forget, now available at all your favourite Creative Expressions stockists worldwide as of the 17th of October 2023. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now.